You finish the day exhausted, not from what you did, from everything you didn't do. The report that was supposed to take an hour took 3. The email you have been meaning to send is still sitting there on day 4. And somehow you look up and it's 6 p.m. and you have no idea where the afternoon went. You are not disorganized, you are not undisciplined, you are not lazy, but something is off, and nobody has ever given you a real explanation for why. I am Ibrahim, a nurse practitioner and registered psychotherapist. I assess adults for ADHD at our clinic in Ottawa. And the person I just described, I see them every single week. They are usually high functioning on paper, good job, capable, smart, maybe even a high performer at some point. But privately, there is this constant undercurrent of friction. They sit down to do something important, a report, a proposal, something that actually matters. And within 10 minutes, they're doing something else, something low stakes, something that moves nothing forward. And it's not that they chose to do that, it's that their brain moved there before they even noticed. Why can't I just sit down and do the thing? Other people don't seem to struggle like this. Maybe I'm just not trying hard enough. So they try harder. They push through. They white knuckle it. And eventually they get things done, but at a cost. They're burning enormous energy on tasks that should take a fraction of the effort. They're running on fumes by midweek. And the tasks that actually matter keep getting pushed to tomorrow. This is not a productivity problem. This is not a mindset problem. And it is absolutely not a laziness problem. Here's what's actually happening and why nobody ever explained it to you this way. There is a concept in ADHD neuroscience called time blindness. And it doesn't mean you don't know what time it is. It means your brain doesn't feel time the way other brains do. Most people have an internal clock running in the background. It tells them how long something is taking, how much time is left. It creates a natural urgency that keeps them moving. In ADHD, that clock is unreliable. Time doesn't move in a steady stream. It moves in 2 speeds, now and not now. If something is engaging, urgent, novel, or emotionally charged, your brain locks in completely. Hyperfocus. Hours disappear. You're productive in a way that surprises even you. But if something is important and not immediately interesting, your brain struggles to generate the activation it needs to start, or sustain, or finish. It's not that the task is too hard, it's that the brain is its regulatory system isn't producing the right signal at the right moment. And here is what most clinicians miss. This isn't a character flaw, it's a neurological pattern. It has a name, it has an explanation, and it can be assessed. But the time piece is only half of it. Here's what happens because of it, and this is where things start to compound. Here's what I see in clinic. Someone comes in, mid-30s, professional. They have always found ways to cope, calendars, systems, every productivity book, and for a while it worked. But something shifted. Maybe a promotion, maybe kids, maybe just more responsibility over time. And suddenly, the coping strategies aren't enough anymore. They start the morning with a clear plan, 3 things to do, focused, ready. Then an email comes in, or a thought, something that needs fixing, and they're pulled off course. An hour later, they have done 6 things, none of which were on the list. And here's the part that really lands when I describe it to clients. They were busy the entire time. They weren't sitting around. They were working, just not on the right things. High effort, low leverage output, exhaustion that doesn't match what they have to show for it, and the gap between how capable they know they are and how they're actually functioning day to day starts to feel unbearable. They start to wonder if something is wrong with them, and the answer is in most cases is no. Nothing is wrong with you, but something is different about how your brain manages time, activation, and task priority. And that difference has a name. This is where most people have spent years in the wrong conversation. Most adults, I assess, have spent years, sometimes decades, trying to fix a productivity problem that was never actually a productivity problem. They have optimized their morning routines, tried every app, read every book. Some of it helped a little for a while, but the underlying pattern didn't change because the underlying pattern was never addressed. When someone gets a proper assessment, what changes isn't that they suddenly have the answer to everything. What changes is that they finally have an accurate map. Why the calendar works some days and falls apart on others. Why certain environments produce focus and others produce nothing. Why they can finish a project in 2 hours under deadline pressure but can't start it for 3 weeks when the deadline is far away. With that understanding, they stop fighting themselves. They stop interpreting their brain's behavior as a personal failure, and they start working with how their brain actually functions instead of against it. Not a fix, not a cure, and yet an accurate explanation and a real starting point. Here is what I want you to take away from this. If what I described today sounds familiar, the time blindness, the low leverage spiral, the exhaustion that doesn't match what you have to show for it, the gap between how capable you know you are and how you're actually functioning, you don't need more willpower. You need an accurate picture of what's actually happening. At Crocus Care, we do adult ADHD and autism assessments in Ottawa and Toronto, and virtually across Ontario. The link is in description. The first step is just a short intake form. We will take it from there.